But that's And since this will be our organizational meeting, normally it'll be our chair calling into order. But I guess Matt, we were just talking, I guess Matthew's still technically vice chair, but I'm just gonna go ahead and start to do the organizational meeting. So I included in the agenda packet, just what we have in our rules of procedure as far as electing a chair and vice chair. But first, we have some new members. So I think it's good to do an introduction for everyone. And so we've got some new faces around and we have a guest. And so we'll just do a quick introduction for everybody. If you want to say who you are, what you represent or do. And are you who you are, what you represent or do, and if you've been on the board, if you want to add any information of your experience on the board. Okay. If you're just with me, so we that save those for the other three of them. All right. So I'm Jamie Carpenter. I'm the downtown manager with the city of Hendersonville. So I'm the staff liaison for the downtown board.
Jamie.
You're Lindsay Simpson.
I'm Jamie. I have multiple personality disorder.
This is with Lindsay. She may be late if she's coming.
She doesn't really want us.
I had already checked with her. So anyway, yeah, Jamie Carpenter, downtown manager. Herman.
Hi, Herman Holt. I don't represent anything. I don't do anything. And I'm new to the board.
Excellent.
We don't believe that.
I'm a faculty member at UNC Asheville, and I've been in Hendersonville for several years, over 10 years.
What do you do for UNC Asheville?
Professor.
Oh, okay. I just missed the. first
Sorry.
one. Sorry, that's
Yeah.
my hearing. Good, awesome. Now you have all the answers to all the questions.
That's right.
What's the name of the street you live on?
Happy Wolf Lane.
Oh, cool. It says a different,
It should be Great Wolf.
yeah.
It's a typo.
Oh.
Oh, and Herman has a ridiculous sense of humor. It's great. It's not gay wolf. It's Gray Wolf.
It's his gay. It's Gray Wolf.
Because look at Gray Wolf Lane's where I live.
He was making fun.
Dear Mother. Hi, Nancy.
You know each other?
Yes.
Oh,
yes, we do.
congrats.
He does.
Very cool. It's funny. All right, Jay.
My name's Joe Dinan. I'm the owner of Aqua Brewing Company and part owner of Blue Ridge Beer Garden. I'm also the liaison to the TDA, which is Tourism Development Authority. And this is my second term,
And once every 2 months, you bring free samples of beer, right?
all the time,
Okay.
as often as I can.
That's the only reason
Legally.
I'm on this committee. My name is Patsy Dupree. I've been on and off this committee for a few years, but I'm on it again and I'm happy to be on it. I'm Rhythm and Brews T-shirt co-chair. So every time you want to buy a T-shirt, my husband and I are selling those. I'm also president of Art League Henderson County now. Now I'm president, and we have a gallery now in the city limits on Locust Street. We're very excited. But I'm on as an at-large volunteer because that was my first job.
Your gallery like by where the marketplace on Locust?
It's across from Sycamore Cycles.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. And you can tell it's painted with the help of some grants from the city as well as a previous tenant in that building, which is perfect. The outside's painted like a gallery, so inside's great.
That's great.
It just opened in like 180 pieces and it's fabulous. So
Wow, that's great.
Wednesday through Saturday.
Nice.
All right. I don't have a commercial. I'm John Ryan. I got involved with this through the train club. And if you haven't seen that, go down and look at it on Maple sometime. We get a lot of visitors. And especially a lot of folks on Saturdays with the farmers market. But I'm by trade an engineer and a financial analyst and still work a little bit. Happy to be here. And I think Chris and I and Matthew go back probably 10 years on this. When it was the 7th Avenue board.
I'm Jenny Breedlove, and I'm owner of the Emporium on Main and soon to be the Emporium Market. I'm new to the board and happy to be here. And I'm sort of new to Hendersonville. I've only been here 11 years, came from Charlotte. So that's it. That's about me.
I'm Stan Simmons. I work for Hajoka down on Spartanburg Highway, and I own space on Main Street. I've been on the board now 2 years.
Sam, I met you.
Yes.
We spent a lot of money with you. We love it.
Good.
But oh,
But it's a good looking bathroom.
it's a good looking bathroom.
Hi, everybody. I'm Matthew Hickman, Underground Baking Company on Seventh Avenue, as well as Independent Roasters. Been part of this board, John was saying, since we began, just a handful of us at the train depot years ago. So I sit on this board, also the community character team as well. We've been a community character, if you guys don't know, has been a huge part of the Seventh Avenue streetscape. It looks great. We did have a lot accomplished. We've got some more work to do, but happy to be here.
Bill Wilmot, my wife and I own Art on 7th, just next door to Matthew. This is my first term, but enjoy being a part of the community and getting to say a few words from time to time.
You?
But glad to welcome new members. Welcome aboard. You'll enjoy it. It's a good group.
I'm Cheryl Solomon. My mom grew up here, so I spent most of my summers up here a long time ago. Still have a good number of cousins here, but we bought a place in the Skyline Hotel, and renovated. And so it's, they said it was gonna be like 4 months. It was about 8 to get it done, but we used trips because we could see them outside of our window. I'm from Charlotte too, actually grew up in Charlotte. But always been interested in Hendersonville and especially downtown. And especially now that we live right on Main Street and get to see all kinds of interesting things from our window, including the interesting fountain that's we're getting used to. I hear rumors they may revise that. It's a rumor, I'm sure, but very glad, my first year or first term, and very glad to be here. And my husband's on the Historic Preservation Committee too, if y'all have questions about that, so glad to be here.
All right, I'm Nancy Nykirk. I'm in my first term, but it's like a long first. I really should be in my second term, but I'm in my first term.
We rigged it to make Nancy stay longer.
I moved here from Michigan 3.5 years ago, and I love it down here. I am in great admiration of these 3 people. Dakota, Terry, and are there listening. No, not you. Not you.
We've already settled. Nothing.
But Dakota, Terry, and Jamie, I'm in great admiration. I watch you guys and I'm amazed. But I love being active, and I am kind of on this board in every single committee. And anything special they ask me. I shop all the time in the Emporium. I am a neighbor of Herman, and I'm going to be at your trivia tonight.
Awesome. Where?
Well, you come by the gallery, but.
Well, I love his gallery, and you know, I'm there every Saturday at your place.
You're the one that gets all the bread before I get there.
No, I go to the mini bakery and get their little mini size
Oh,
sourdough, but I go there for a treat every week.
yeah. Oh.
More the merrier.
That's it. She's buttering us all up.
Yeah, I'm Bob Johnson. I'm not on the board. I'm here to talk about an opportunity with the Apple Country Woodcrackers. But I have lived here almost 40 years. And I'm on the city planning board, so I have little connection to the city. I live in the city a couple of blocks from here.
You'll hear from Bob here shortly.
Yeah, and this is Don Species on the lead the board. Hi, my name is Don Spees. I'm Vice President of Apple Country Woodcrafters and working with Bob on this proposal for our little parade here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Oliver Wall. I'm the general manager at Mass General Store. You're a rock can hit it from here. I've been in Hendersonville about 4 years now. I've been with Mass 10 years and traveled to a few of our different communities, different locations. But happy to see some fresh Main Street faces, especially at Warrior. That's exciting. Another big presence on Main Street here in retail. So welcome to the new folks. I'm going on a year, first term. So I feel like I'm getting comfortable now, so. Hopefully, yeah, we'll get into some good stuff this year now that I'm settled in. Happy to talk and ask there.
I'm still nervous.
We don't look.
I'm Chris Cormier, and I have been on the 7th Avenue Advisory Board for a long time, and then he merged with the Dump Tone and all that. You guys are saying, and I've got a business on 7th Avenue.
All right.
Jamie, can I just add real quick for the folks new in the room, just kind of give you an idea what you're walking yourself into here. This board has evolved greatly. We've done a lot of great stuff. It's a very functional board. This board works really well with the city. Our representatives from the city are fantastic. So I just wanted to kind of kudos to you guys as well. But you know, it's really been amazing to see how much progress this board has achieved internally and how much we've actually been able to do. The voices here, there's been a lot of smart conversation. There's been some debate is exactly what you want a board to do. But I couldn't be more proud of what we've done and what we can do going forward. So.
And three board members that are not here are Aaron Adams, who owns White Duck Taco, Mark Pavo, who owns Black Bear Coffee, and Ryan Salveson, who's also an at-large member. And Ryan was also at the board orientation that we had last week because he wasn't able to make it last year when he joined with Oliver. Oh, and then Zach, just a little
Terry Jacobs, downtown coordinator for the city.
Dakota Parker, event coordinator for the city.
Stephanie Sweeney, summer intern.
Jamie, when did we merge 7th and Main Street?
It was in 2020 or 2021. Yeah, they were separate committees. And I kind of gave them some history on that when we did the orientation too, but yeah, so then that restarted. So some of the people who've been here for a long time, because they were on the previous board, and then it all restarted whenever we did the new ones. So now getting into the business of electing the chair and the vice chair. So Matthew has been the vice chair. Our previous chair, Caroline Gunther, she rolled off of the board, and so now we are at the time to elect. And so I'd say the first order of business, and then I'll stop being the one talking, would be just if there were nominations for a chair.
I nominate Matthew.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion?
What's to talk about?
Do I have a choice?
No.
Volunteered, so you.
I didn't volunteer to be chair.
We haven't. We haven't.
Show me in the minutes.
Right, okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then I'll turn it over to you for presenting over the vice chair.
Oh, wait, now I'm over, now I took over? Is that the way it works? Effective immediately?
Immediate.
All right.
Goodbye.
Well, thank you, everyone. You guys, plenty of people in this room are just as busy as I am, but I'm definitely honored to be to carry on as chair, working closely with Caroline over the years. I think that, you know, we can still, there's still a lot to be done, and I'm excited to take that role over. So the discussion is vice chair. So Jamie, help me out a little bit here. Is there just a nomination? Second?
First, if there's either a nomination or someone who would like to volunteer or nominate themselves.
I'm not gonna volunteer and nominate myself. I would like to nominate Joe to be vice chair. That would represent Main Street along with Seventh Avenue. So I nominate you, Joe. You say yes to the nomination?
yes, thank you.
I need a second, that's all.
I said.
All right, so we
Yeah, then just,
have had Patsy for the first and Chris for the second.
or any other nominations, I guess it's something like that. I guess if there are any, then we can figure that out if we need to.
Yeah,
Or not, we're good. Then we
so all in favor?
Yeah.
Is there
discussion.
any more discussion or any secondary nominations? I mean, that was the first one thrown out. I agree with you. I had another choice as well. Joe, I have a huge amount of respect for you as well, but you know, I was thinking a little bit about Nancy just because of the balance and the demeanor I've seen from Nancy or over her service here, and very level-headed individual, very smart. You have a different perspective on things, and I think we could work really well together. With that said, I think Joe is a very nice choice as well, but I would open up to the board for more discussion, or if you guys want to go ahead and vote on
A
it.
second for Joe.
We did, Chris had seconded, Joe.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we did, I just said something right.
Who do we need?
And
to
if-
be?
Hand speeches?
Now, if there's no other discussion, then we'll call for a vote, right?
You want to go around the room or just?
Say just vote, or did you nominate?
We didn't get a second for Nancy.
Is that a nomination?
And I don't know if she wants to be.
It was really, well. I'm new to this.
Yeah, I guess if you,
All these years, he didn't read the book. Send him home.
I guess if it is a nomination,
I'm nominating Nancy and there's a second for Nancy. Now we have two nominations.
yeah, I mean, you didn't have to vote,
We didn't have a vote.
yeah.
No, well, yeah.
Or if you didn't nominate her, depending on what, you know, as long as there's people who are willing to do it too, that'd be the other part.
Hey, Nancy, would you consider it?
I'll consider it, but I think Joe's a good option as well. You know me, I'm gonna put both of us out there.
All right, so I'll present it like this. We don't have a second for Nancy. Now that we have Nancy's opinion about it, let's go with, we have a motion, we have a first and a second for Joe. So, all in favor of Joe being vice chair? Are there any opposed to Joe being vice chair? All right, Scary, welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Let's do it.
And you would have been amazing. I think you're incredible. Love you, Nancy.
I do think it's good to have a good balance between like the districts at least. Having at large is fine too, but just so that way it's not too heavy on two people from Main Street or two people from Seventh. I think that's good. Congratulations, everyone.
All right,
And then,
Thank you.
we go right into minutes.
no, the next thing we have is this, so we have to approve the schedule of
Okay.
meetings. We've already basically approved the schedule for meetings, or no, wait, I'm sorry, the members of the subcommittees. And that's something that we can add people later, should we choose to, so that's the next page. But I have currently on the list the people who are currently on each subcommittee. And I'll just say, and anybody else wants to chime in on it. I think, as far as with the subcommittees go, I think it's important that if you're on it, even if you can't make it to all of the meetings, to be, kind of either engage with it and try to come to the meetings. And then if you're missing them, like try to catch back up on what has been done. So that way we don't get into any kind of situations where we're like in a committee and then we have to revisit the same things, like multiple meetings in a row kind of situation. So I just say that for in general, but we can always add more people from the board. But this is the current committee members.
Where is it? Do we have that?
To me.
It's on the next page.
Yeah, I am already there.
Yeah, did I not have you on here?
I didn't know if I was considered in that.
No, yeah, you are.
You're on which one?
I'm at the meetings.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah,
Speaking out.
Yeah. So if you are on them and I don't have your name on there, let's first do that. So Oliver's Economic Vitality. So if y'all can look real quick, if you regularly come to any of them.
For the new folks, we should probably give a brief thumbnail.
And we had done that at the orientation.
Or, okay,
Jamie, I'd like to be on the events.
Yeah. And if you're not sure yet, you don't necessarily have to sign up yet, but
You sign up for all of them, Jamie.
No.
I'd like to be on the events too.
that'll be some good new blood on events. Terry will put you to work. And just as far as scheduling goes, the community character and economic vitality meet the first Tuesday of every month. And events meet on the first Thursday, but events don't typically meet in May or June, July, August.
That's fun.
All right, so I guess first on community character, the names that we have here. And I marked out Caroline because she's no longer on it. And so are there any others that anyone would like to nominate, or if would like to be on that committee
Oh, to nominate on the committee?
that aren't currently on
Oh.
this list?
So I would put it out there that I am considering at some point in the near future dropping off a community character. So if there's anybody in this room that might be interested, community character, like I said, has done a lot. And there's still some more to do, but a big part of my role on that team was getting through streetscapes. Streetscapes was in the planning process. It's been on the books for, or at least, began about 7 years ago. So if there's anyone on this team that might be interested in that, just throw that out there.
It's a good group. We've been pretty
It is.
busy. Matthew's currently chair of that.
I
Are
am.
you gonna want to stay with that as well as the chair of the big superpower? committee?
Well, since I just got elected chair, yeah.
He's happy with 2 times.
Yeah. Like I said, community character has been a great team. I've been on that team for a very long time. We've done a lot of work. And yeah, I mean, like probably other people in this room, trying to shape down your schedule a little bit as life progresses. But that'd be one that I might fall back off of, but I would be committed to this board as chair.
Don't have any,
And especially right now, community character is going a lot into like public art focus, so there's definitely gonna be that element of public art, what that looks like, where it is, how it affects the community, so.
feel free to decide at another time too, and we can always add that to a future agenda, but if we wanna, if there's no other changes on this current slate of community character, we can just do a general motion to approve as
I move, we approve.
Patsy.
And we have a second?
Second.
All right, Patsy and Joe. So, motion approved,
All in favor?
all in favor? Are there any opposed? No.
Economic vitality, the only one I didn't have on that list was Oliver, sorry, Oliver. Is there anyone who wants to be added to that? Or any other people you'd recommend that anyone would like to nominate to add to it who's not on the board? All right, we go ahead, do the same motion second, with Oliver on the list.
Make a motion to approve.
With Oliver, right?
With Oliver.
Yeah. Just in case. I'll second.
All right, thank you very much. We got a first and a second. In the room, all approved, in favor?
Yep.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried.
And then the events team would be the list as included, including Cheryl and Jenny.
Add me to that one.
John?
A busy, big committee. You guys can have your own parade.
It was very small.
So adding Cheryl, Jenny, John. Get a motion?
I move.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you. We got a first and second on that. All in favor with the add-on to the 3 names we just mentioned?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried through. Thank you.
The next thing we have is the schedule. We'll just do that at the organizational meeting. And so we've already, I have it all laid out for community character says 2024, but that's 2025. I didn't update the number. So for the downtown board, you know, there may sometimes be cancellations, but we have the schedule as the second Tuesday of every month, starting today, with the exception of March, because that's when we go to the Main Street Conference. It is in New Bern, if anyone would like to go, save the date, for that week. The next one is community care. I'm just gonna go through them, then we can approve them all at once. The next are community character and economic vitality meetings. And I've sent this out already that, me and Terry and Dakota are at a training that first week of August. And so we won't be here, but Stephanie and Lou will be able to be here for the economic vitality that day. But we won't be able to have anybody here for community character. So to not have community character August 5th, but to have economic vitality on August 5th. And then I wanted to just make a note that we always seem to have those subcommittees meet the day after Labor Day, after the Apple Festival. And so just want to put it out. I'll be here working, but if we're going to be here or not, just making sure that we know that that's that day. And otherwise it falls on the first Tuesday. Are there any, does anyone see any reason to not have them on September 2nd? Otherwise, we can continue to have planning for the subcommittees.
Curious, you have 2024. I guess that's a typo.
Yeah, it's typo.
Looks like.
Otherwise, we can still have those two after Labor Day on the agenda. Just want to make sure we have people who are going to be here.
So that'll be, you're talking about the community character and economic vitality
September 2nd.
on September 2nd.
And this is something we could go ahead and approve it now, and then if it's looking like a,
I mean, I don't see any, especially since there's no community character meeting in August, I don't see any reason not to have it.
yeah, I'm good with that.
Oh.
Okay, so we'll plan to have the September 2nd meetings. And then, the events team, they'll start back in September. And so those are on the schedule, does not mean June, July, August. So if there's any discussion on any of those dates, we can have that, or just go ahead and motion to approve.
Just curious as to why don't they meet in June, July, and August? Is that it?
It's just too busy into the event season, so we see everybody a lot.
And that committee voted against it. Just kidding.
All right, so I'd make a motion to approve the schedule as presented for the board and the two teams, or the three teams.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Okay,
All right, next up.
our organizational, now we just have minutes.
All right, minutes. So we just want to take a moment. If you haven't already, please take a look at the minutes from last month's meeting and would entertain any changes or a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
Thank you. Got Nancy and Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Public comment. Did we have anyone on the call today?
We had Debbie from TDA.
Debbie,
Hey, Debbie.
is there anyone in the room that would like to present public comment? No? Okay. Next up, this is our agenda we've all been looking at. Need a motion to approve the agenda as presented or entertain any changes to the agenda.
We accept the agenda as presented.
Thank you. Second. Herman, was that you? See, you do something. We just approved the agenda. Any, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, agenda's approved. We'll go right into new business. We've got some presenters here with Apple Country Woodcrafters. I'll let you guys take it over.
Hey, slide for me.
Well, that's it.
I'll just talk with the slides, just get the big one up there. I'm the marketing guy for the Apple Country Woodcrafters. We're best known probably, I'm thinking some people know about us, but we're best known for the 2,500 wooden toys we make throughout the year and give away in December. And that's our biggest outreach to the community. We're members of about, I think, 140 folks. 240. We have a shop out off of Silver Oak Road of every wood tool you could imagine. We're always looking for new members, but folks who do anything from making the toys to making furniture, anything with wood. But my little son lives in New Orleans, and I went to visit him last February and this past February, and just before the actual Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday. But didn't know much about Mardi Gras, but they have multiple parades, and I just happened to watch two parades. The first one was at night, regular parade with humongous floats and whatever. And then a couple of days later, I found the T-Rex parade. And there's a picture of it from the old days. But the T-Rex, as you can see, they made little tiny things, and this is an idea of what they're made on. It mimics the big parade. It's for families and for small businesses. And what we want to propose is to bring that here to Hendersonville. I spoke with Jamie maybe in March or April about this, and she thought it was a good idea. And we've been internally trying to figure out how to pull this off, how to do it. Basically, let's go to the next slide.
I want the
Anyway, this will be a fundraiser for us. What we'll do is we create a wagon and sell it to folks as a donation. They will take the wagon and build a float, let their imagination go wild. And basically, it's on Main Street. It's on February 7th, which is Saturday. Started at 2:00. Basically, folks, whoever become participants will decorate this and pull it behind them, and you'll see a little bit more of that in a minute. We're also would have small bands interspersed with this, and we walk right down the sidewalks of Main Street, starting down by the courthouse, turning at 6th Avenue and come back. So really a pretty simple operation. But we're thinking that it would be a lot of fun for folks to do. It'd be a way to advertise your business. The participants keep this, and I would imagine if they're do a really good job, they'll keep it in their business in their 4 years, whatever people. What is that? This is part of a T-Rex parade, which is a real thing. It in New Orleans. Next slide.
Can I interrupt?
Sure.
The traditional Mardi Gras takes place. It's a changing date because of when Ash Wednesday is, but it's traditionally around February, could be a little bit later. And we thought one of the reasons for this is there's not much going on in February. It's kind of a quiet month, right? So here's something that might throw a little attention, maybe some people coming down, wandering around, and maybe even stopping your shops and buy something. That's general. Absolutely. Yeah.
Anyway, you can see the concept is pretty easy to walk down the street and come back. And we picked a date, Saturday, February 7th. I've also talked to Blue Ridge Mall in case that's the day when the ice and snow and hurricane and tornado come inside. We could actually move over to the mall and do it in there. I'm hoping not to do that. Obviously, you never know what February 7th is going to look like in 2026. But we do have an alternate plan, and as Don mentioned, and Jamie hit it as well, as there's not much happening in February and kind of dead time, and why not have some fun? Mardi Gras is meant to have fun. A lot of folks don't realize the connection to Easter,
or the Lent, but that's exactly what it is. It's where people go crazy because they gotta behave for another 40 days or so. As Lent. Go to the next slide.
Two questions again. Is there a set cost for the wagon donation?
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Okay, and my other question is, I know they throw stuff in New Orleans with the parades. Is that part of this or?
Yes, don't do it to my slides here, but they have mini throws. This is a micro parade.
Oh, cool.
And in New Orleans is right down the middle of the street and you're just surrounded by people. Here we'll be on sidewalk, imagine the street, but if we get enough publicity, people will be there and each organization would figure out a throw. Typically, they're not beads. It's something smaller than we got. So wouldn't, what's that?
They said maybe it's candy.
It could be candy, it could be, I've got examples, maybe not in the slideshow of what they give out. but-
Is the street, is the street itself closed off to cars or no? Okay.
Yeah, that was, we like things,
Don't.
better parades that won't close the street.
So I looked at it, this is almost a foot wide, but the sidewalks, I think, are 10 feet wide. And I know they come in and with some of the restaurants or whatever, but we're thinking that's adequate. Adequate enough space. So these are some examples of what these little things look like.
They're cute. Well, we have to teach everyone to yell, throw me something, mister. Yeah, but you're on the sidewalk, so you're not blocking the street.
We're not blocking the street.
Yeah.
The only real issue is getting across the cross streets. But my guess is we would just follow the traffic lights and not make it dangerous to anybody. But again, bands intersected along that, we would. I think I just have a series of slides of examples of what this looks like.
That's cool.
And so that first slide from the 1950s, apparently, and the kids in school would make their own little floats from cigar boxes. And then it elevated to about the size of a baby carriage, and here we're still at the baby carriage or the small thing. Is there another slide? Yeah, again, the one in the upper right corner kind of gives it a better flavor. You can see a band behind it. And we know we have some bands, we'd have to recruit some little tiny.
High school kids would love to do.
I think they would really like it. So, a couple of things. The biggest part of this is we can't do it by ourselves and we're looking for partners. And I don't know if Jamie thought of this, when she invited me here, but perhaps this organization could be a partner with us. That's the biggest thing because we need some help. And also we're thinking longevity. Unlike all the other civic clubs in Hendersonville, ours is not young.
When you say you need partners, you're talking about volunteers mostly?
We need an organizer besides myself, somebody that would work with me to get this together. I don't see this as hard. I've done things like this before in my life, but our organization really wants to partner with somebody. Plus, if this thing really takes off and all of a sudden guys can't do it anymore, a younger person could keep it going and would know how to do it.
Can you talk through a little bit on what, like, so that way we can understand what the partner would be doing, like what the plan would be on, like what you're doing with the wagons and how they have sponsors or however you do that.
Let me go over the more detail. Our intent is to sell the wagons to nonprofits for $200 and for for-profits for $300. Some people think it's a lot of money. Other people realize in their businesses, they have a lot of money to donate. They have marketing, they have a line item of marketing. It would help our members if we can give away even more toys. And we give you a permanent thing rather than a print ad, a TV ad, it goes away. This is something you can keep in your office. Somebody in your organization would have to be creative and figure out how to make this thing. As far as what the partnership would be is, I'm going to be involved in selling these. And that's the bigger part of it is going to organizations. And I'm hoping that some of you folks in the room would like to participate one time. A wagon. Our club makes these. So that's that part of it. These, I'm rolling that around, you can kind of see what, these things are kind of cool. And part of the toys we give away is a similar wagon. So it's not
stretch of us all. But, a partner would be somebody that would be permanently involved, working with me as we put this thing together. Again, I don't see it as a really. It's just a matter of a bunch of guys meeting on Main Street at 2 o'clock on the 7th of February and walk down the street. And for the bands and organizers, I participated in the Fourth of July parade. Last week. My first time ever been in the bill, and to me, it's complicated parade, it's also very easy. It's super easy and should be super fun. I'm hoping to have an organization work with us more closely and also get credit. You have more to say about that? Am I describing that right?
Yeah, I think so. As Bob was saying, we're a small organization, mostly old guys. Sadly, we lost 2 of our members this past week. So we need help with losing folks, so we need some support. Small group. But we can't do it ourselves, so we need some people who will help both doing organization during the day of the event, just guiding things right now. We need some money sponsors, a business can step up and say, hey, we'd be glad to take a wagon and you guys decorate it with the theme of your business. And we're looking for a couple of semi-permanent supporters who can take this forth and go with it. If it catches on, I mean, maybe in 5 years, it's so big, we have to, God forbid, shut the streets down because we have tens of thousands of people pouring in. Not likely in February, but if we get some interest, it might be good for the vitality downtown.
I do have 2 questions.
Sure.
Are you looking for help with the promotional aspect? Because promotion, getting the word out is gonna be really big. And my second question is, oh shoot, I forgot what it was. Oh, the safety factor. When they're going along the sidewalk, they still have to cross that side street. And I think you're gonna have somebody who's gonna make sure the traffic's stopping. If they have a green light, you don't want them following through. So I think safety and promotion is the 2 things I'm wondering about.
I would say that those are things that with our volunteer groups, we could probably get the safety side, we've got volunteers who do traffic control for various things. And then on the professional side, but like that's something we could.
Yeah, I'm the marketing guy. I'm in a lot of organizations in Henderson County. And I kind of know all the media outlets you can talk to and convince to do things. So obviously the radio, the WLOS, visitor center, I've already talked to them about information stage down there. They're willing to put on the calendar and promote it. Anybody interested in getting folks whose actually job it is to come to Hendersonville would promote this. So for that help, and then word of mouth. And I haven't been to the one in New Orleans. It's a lot of fun. It's a very community building event. Really enjoy the best I could tell building these wagons. And again, I can see it in your business. It could be there, the prominent space year round. You know, did a good job.
What about opening it up to kids and, you know, people other than businesses? Is there a, you know, a
Families would.
because you know, like the Pinewood Derby type thing, where the kids all brings in grandparents and all that for their to watch. Thought about what that costs.
The only thing we've thought about, and there's a website, in your packet, there's a sheet that looks like this with this thing. I did a little more on it, so I was gonna pass, I don't have enough to pass to everybody, but
Yeah, they came.
I've got to turn on the QR codes, and I've got a QR code in here that goes live and makes a lot of noise. It's actually filming an entire parade. But I want to make this available to you. What I learned from this group is the one in one is they try to limit it to 30 floats because it gets too long. And I'm thinking 20 would make it a little shorter and school groups I'm thinking more businesses, but however it works out. My thought is I can sell these out without half the length of Main Street. It's actually a matter of who gets the opportunity to do it, definitely involving the police. Anybody here do high school band? I didn't do high school band, but my brother did. He talked to me about when he did it at 40 some years ago. He and his buddies from the band got together and on Christmas made money. But carefully, my brother was a tuba player. The feeling I got is the people in the band know each other, would like to form a bunch of really tiny bands. Primarily drums and brass is what they typically are. But trying to get the community involved, but that's a very good point. If the scouts wanted to do it, I could certainly, you could talk to scout troops if they want to build one or more. I know their budgets aren't as big as what we're looking for. And again, 200, 300 is a lot of money, but then again, businesses have line items for market.
Well, because I know with the Christmas parade and the Fourth of July parade, it's limited to how many businesses really put a float together. It's a minimal fee, $50 or whatever. So I'm thinking how many would do this. So
That's a good point. That was number 45 and there was 50, I guess, because I was number 25. So I guess that's how many units are, March units? So,
In the Fourth of July parade.
parade, you never know.
Oh, I know we do a smaller amount for that one, because they do that different direction.
I'm curious, Jamie, were you gonna say?
No,
something? I was wondering it's brand new, if maybe the first year it would be something you even did, as Jenny said, with kids starting, so that businesses, and I'm not trying to pick on you, Oliver, but Mass General Store that sees how much families and children want to be part of it, businesses that cater to them would want to participate as advertisers or something. And maybe instead of being 6 blocks long, it's like from the old courthouse to, 3 blocks or something, or even in the old courthouse square or something, initially. I know you all wanted to start big, and there's nothing wrong with that, except it's so new and it might be harder to get as many people. I mean, everybody knows Mardi Gras. Huh?
I was actually thinking it'd be harder to narrow it down to just 20.
Oh, do you?
I thought how it is with the Bears at $1,200.
I was gonna say,
like,
people
I
go
think
crazy
that,
for the Bears.
I think deciding what 20 could do it, that was where my side of things.
Well, but the Bears are, they're proven.
They're
Yeah.
established.
That's a proven thing, and of course, everybody's gonna jump on that, but this isn't.
Yeah.
But the Bears have charities benefiting too.
Yeah.
I would think we figure out some tie-in like that, it might even go better.
Yeah, I would think that businesses would be just as interested in sponsoring like a youth group.
Yeah.
Or a charity and not profit bagging.
Oh, that's a good way to
Doing
see it.
it themselves. I don't know how you get your branding on a tiny wagon along with the other, it'd have to be on the website or something, but.
But sponsoring kids, yeah, or schools or bands or whatever.
Without getting too far into the weeds, because what we could do is toss it into the events committee to kind of get into that, if this is something that, that we would like and want to support. I'm always in favor of stuff happening in February. The things that don't close the street down. And so I guess if there's any kind of any kind of feedback other than kind of the into the weeds stuff that we can get into in the committee, that you guys kind of got burning in their heads.
It seems to me like you're asking for organizational support. You obviously need logistical support for the event itself. From a traffic standpoint, even without having the street closed. So like getting people across intersections without having your event broken up into 6 pieces, like a segmented worm or something like that. I would propose that, I think our response right here is positive, definitely positive, and I propose we kick it to events team. And they take it from there, whether the city whether the city is involved or volunteers for the events team are involved. But from what my understanding is that primarily this is the financial goal of this is to is to support your organization. That's the goal. You're nonprofit, and you guys, I mean, that's pretty amazing thing, what you.
Second thing is to have fun.
Yeah, okay.
In February.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, are we looking for like a motion here to have this put on events team's agenda for next meeting?
That would be.
Appropriate?
And if that's, yeah, I think that would be a good next step, or I think that'd be a good one for the events committee to look at, and then y'all can just be a part of that part for the planning for it.
So we don't meet until September.
Oh. See,
Oops.
see, all the new people, you can meet all someone, that's your orientation.
So it might be a,
I mean, are we looking for this coming February? That's
yeah,
6 months away.
And they don't need.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the events team, whether it's volunteers from that team or discussion on just putting the team's agenda and some involvement from the city, I think that's where you're gonna get the support that you're looking for sure. So, yeah, I guess, do we need a motion to add that to the agenda, or we just?
I don't think we necessarily need a motion, right, and then we can send something.
So you can put it on events agenda.
Yeah, and then we can send something to the events team between now and then, and just kind of get an idea if there's anybody from that committee who wants to kind of get in and working on that, so that way it's maybe just a couple of people that are working with Bob on that, then that way, when we have our scheduled meeting in September, we can not, it will be the first time that they've heard of it.
Right, so we get events team information, and in the meantime, you guys can show back up for the September meeting.
Sure.
And really start nailing out some details. Right.
I was gonna pass some of these around, but again, the bigger QR code is loud, so don't hit it on your phone. It'll disrupt. But thanks so very much. Thank you, John. Jim, can I have one thing? You had a great idea with this. We haven't thought about that in terms of sponsors. We were thinking just more directly businesses, say you want to be a sponsor. But or the idea of a business sponsoring a group, children or an organization of some sort. Doesn't have to be just that, it can be just a business, but it could be a business sponsoring somebody else. We're gonna add that to our thinking. I think it's a great idea.
I think that's a great idea because a lot of business owners will say, you can have my time or you can have my money.
Yeah.
So I'll give you $300, but I'm not gonna be able to put this together. So if you can pawn it off on somebody else. And I was just telling Jamie that if you wanted to do that, but you wanted the businesses to be on the float, instead of trying to get the organization to incorporate the business's logo, you could just have signs made that's put on the back of every float. Yeah, or they all hold it, or I don't know, just something that's sort of templated that we could, you could add on after they turn their floats. Or give them when they show up,
Let me ask this, since it is the time is a little bit of a concern on the events committee meeting, is there anybody here who's on the events committee or not, who's particularly interested in getting involved with it, so we can kind of bring anybody in? No, it's not all hands at once, but if there is anybody, and everybody's busy, because Bob and Dakota and I have already met a few times, so we can kind of continue to take that around with the events committee. But if there is anybody who's particularly interested in getting involved on that side, just let us know.
You can put my name on there.
There we go. That's a spirit.
Thank you, Joe.
It's a good one.
And that would be a good one tied in with TDA too.
Mhm.
Good job. Thank you.
Okay,
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for your presentation.
thank you so much.
All right, moving right along, we are ready for reports in staff.
Second card.
So I have just some. All right, so just some general updates. Just a reminder, July 23rd is the city council meeting where they're talking about towing. So if you would like to be listening to that meeting, please go. It's at City Hall at 4 o'clock. Anything you'd like to add to that? It's a city council.
Just show up or listen to what we have to say.
Friends of Downtown budget, so I've been looking at all of our numbers for the Friends. I'll pass this around, at the beginning of the year, we were a little concerned as far as, one, sponsorship money being lower because of the hurricane, and two,
Thank you.
not getting as much money from the TDA because they had stopped their grant program. So we've got good news. One is that Terry is a saleswoman extraordinaire and we've had one good rhythm and blues. And hopefully we have 4 more. And then also other great news is, the TDA is reworking their grant, program and have designated funds for some specific organizations that have received funds, from the grants previously, which is great because I'd end up having to apply for like 10 grants to like piece it all together. We'll still be subject to reporting to them, but we are hopefully going to be just a regular, line item for support, depending on their budget every year. And just to preface, this is all the nonprofits funds, so the Friends of Downtown nonprofits, which is the money that we make from events, but that gives us some extra discretionary money. And so this budget shows last year's, this year's, and what I expect for next year. That also means that we initially had only, initially committed, I believe it's 15,000 for facade grants, because we weren't sure how those sponsorship and TDA grants are going to come in, but we're able to increase that to that $30,000 we had initially planned to do. And that funds also let us last year get the $15,000 for the business recovery grants for the hurricane. Also, one part, and this is still some that we haven't confirmed everything with the TDA, but out of that, those funds from the TDA, I believe about $10,000 will go earmarked towards downtown arts events, which would be most likely sporting events that the TDA had previously. So they had like music made and art made and things like that. We don't have all the details on that, but that's where that's designated in the budget for that. That also supports us printing our downtown map, Rhythm Brews, Garden Jubilee, and Christmas events. We had peeled back some of our funds for Christmas events because we weren't sure if we'd have money. So now Terry can go back to getting all of her fun Christmas things. So I just wanted to show y'all that, and we've got a good amount of reserve funds available in bank. And so just glad to show that. Any questions on that? The last thing that I want to add on just this general update is about non-compliant signage. So signs that are on corners on Main Street or different places that essentially signs are only allowed like sandwich boards in front of the business, not like at the corner for side streets. And that is probably something that code enforcement will be enforcing, as we've tried to warn people for a while now, and now it's going to be time to enforce it. And what I've told them is if they get any big grief about it from businesses, that they can come to a downtown board meeting and discuss those issues, and downtown board can decide if that's an issue that.
I heard one person mention that the part in front of the building, that's the part owned by the building. Would you make, if they put a, whatever you call those,
Sandwich board
there, is that something that?
It's gotta be, what's it gotta be, Lou? It's gotta,
The first 3 feet of the front of the building, just has to be in
So if it was there, yeah, well, not in only their building, even if they had permission.
No, it has to be in front of the building that the business owns, is what the ordinance is.
There has to be a 5-foot clear wall.
Yeah, yes,
Oh, they're on the side.
yeah, so
And
that's,
this would also include what I call the yard signs, like the little signs you see everywhere.
yeah, and we
There's
had,
a lot of those going on.
yeah, and we had given some permission during construction. Now that that's over, that's gonna be just a sort of thing, which I would anticipate will probably get some people not happy about it. So that's just something that
How does zoning work with, like, let's say you have those signs that are obviously not in front of the business that they are announcing? Do they just pull them out of the ground and store them? Is that just how they're removed?
Yeah.
We're required to keep for a period of time.
Right.
24 hours.
But it's not like you call the number on the yard sign and say, come take your sign out of the city property.
sometimes they'll, as a courtesy
No.
to the business, but they're like, if it's a repeated thing.
Does that mean, since Seventh Avenue and Locust are part of downtown, are you gonna put a permanent sign like you have on all the cross streets on Main for what's on the cross streets being?
We had planned on doing that. We just have to figure out where they can go.
Well, each street, like Locust and Seventh, for instance, and Maple and Seventh.
Yeah, that would be community character.
Yeah, that'd be in the community character, but that is something that we can do. We've got to figure out the layout of the street and where the signs can go that won't get hit by.
Okay, well, they just hadn't been discussed at all yet, I don't think. I could miss that. So we
No, I
have
haven't.
that on a community.
Yeah, we had, when we had to approve the new designs for Main Street, we did it for Seventh, but we needed to see how they could fit and where they could fit. It's good we didn't, because they probably would have been knocked over by trucks.
We're just gonna wait, see if any of those businesses come to meetings.
That's what my plan was.
That was advocate, so Mast has little marquee signs, that we put definitely more than 3 feet away from the other. Well, we have one of the bump outs with the streetscaping tables and chairs and everything, so there's well over 5 feet.
I'm not sure. It's more the ones that are not in front of the business. They're on the corner. That's the issue, but I don't know as far as how that.
I'm going to tell you, you're asking these questions, that's why I told you, don't ask.
But is that something we could look at?
The ordinance says that signage is allowed in the 3 feet of public sidewalk in front of a business. That it has to be in front of your frontage. It can't be beyond that.
Yeah.
I think the ones that were a little, we were permissive on during the, we've had multiple hits here to how we operate, but are the ones that are going up on the corners or getting put in the planters. Public Works doesn't like when they get stuck in the planters, and the problem up on the corners is they start to collapse, and then you have more than one on the corner. They don't get picked up. Things like that. So that's kind of what we're, that's what James was going to see.
Yeah, and if the board is more than welcome to make recommendations and that's why I want them to be able to come, just like how we've had previously with sidewalk dining. If we had, some of y'all probably remember, we had some restaurants that weren't compliant and they wanted to argue for the things that they had that were not compliant. And they came and spoke to the board about it. Board didn't want to make those changes, but at least they were able to voice that. And there may be things that we would want to change as a result. So just wanted to.
Does the city or whoever that put up those signs on the street change them all when there's a new business that goes up?
Yeah, I do that. And that's why we got the new ones that have the plates on them. So they're easier to change. And the one, there's not one at 6 in Maine, but I'm working on that one right now. That's the only place on Main Street that's missing one. But yeah, I got them on their plates and they just let me know. And that was before we had gotten those changed. That was part of what we were like, well, we're not gonna really push it because we're working on getting these nice new signs. And but that's been like over a year now. Okay. Those are all my staff updates.
All right, we can go right into community character. We're gonna let you guys know what we discussed last week. It was heavily focused on Seventh Avenue outdoor furniture. So outdoor furniture is the one remaining element that's not in place from the streetscape project as a whole. It was on the books. It got pushed to the bottom of the pile from a monetary standpoint. So we are now in the thick of it. We had a pretty successful walkthrough of the district and actually mapping out key locations for, we're talking about right now is a city-owned outdoor. That does tie in with outdoor dining, so it was part of the conversation as well. And what that looks like, from an outdoor dining standpoint, as far as the furniture goes. You know, we have the Main Street program to work off of, but it will need to be reworked by community character into a Seventh Avenue outdoor dining permit application that is specific to Seventh Avenue and the challenges that we have, or the challenges and or opportunities that we have with the layout of the new streetscape and how that works. So, but back to outdoor furniture from a city standpoint, you know, we were going to the direction of getting some benches put in. Right now, there is no place for an individual walking up and down Seventh Avenue to stop and sit. There's not a single chair that is provided other than the few businesses that have some outdoor dining of their own private businesses. So the idea was we were pretty much, we were in agreement about having a few well-placed benches, something different than what you see on Main Street. That was a consensus, that we wanted something that was unique and different than what we have on Main Street. Also something that we're looking at materials and finish, and something that was more sustainable, less costly to maintain. Basically, Jamie had come up with one example of a somewhat modern design of public seating bench. It's a flat bench, utilizing some reclaimed materials, basically wind turbines. But very low profile, a little bit on the higher end of cost, but also from a longevity standpoint. And this is something that would last longer than any other materials we have in use for the city right now. So that was one option. There was a stakeholder in that meeting that expressed genuine concern over putting any benches on Seventh Avenue from a standpoint of loitering, sleeping, elements like that. That created a whole new vein of conversation. We talked about that. The community character team has been discussing this ever since we first started talking about outdoor seating, public outdoor seating, is like who would be utilizing this and how that would affect, how that could possibly affect the district or the businesses. So that's something that's been very much top of the mind when considering choices for outdoor seating. I think the consensus of the committee is that, of the team, is that we think it's appropriate to have some outdoor seating on Seventh Avenue. It's appropriate. We can't live in a situation of fear of like, well, we won't put any seating because people might sleep on it. You know, so that was a part of the conversation. I think we definitely did not table this. I think it just created more conversation amongst the team, and also, you know, we had some different viewpoints about what the look of the furniture might be, what the style of the furniture. So we have like this one issue of like, okay, the logistical standpoint of like, what's gonna happen if people start sleeping on these benches? Which was one conversation, and then it quickly kind of went into, okay, well, back to the benches, what are they gonna look like? Yeah, so I think we opened it up to where, you know, Jamie was getting from the team. Jamie, we had set up a deadline on July 15th, I believe, for members of that team to submit their own homework of options of seating and what that looks like. I mean, this is something that we don't necessarily want to rush into, because it is gonna definitely be part of the look and the feel of Seventh Avenue. The overall effect of the streetscape down there has been fantastic. It looks awesome. It's missing some little key components there. Some of the seating styles that we were looking at are very low profile, and they kind of just blend in with the environment that we've created down there without kind of distracting from anything. The focus obviously to be in the businesses and the activity of Seventh Avenue, not necessarily the furniture, but also having spaces for individuals to sit and rest for a while. I mean, I'll throw this out there on a historical standpoint. You know, Seventh Avenue, as we all know, was a pretty bustling hub of Henderson County. And, up and down Seventh Avenue, there were benches, lots and lots of benches up and down Seventh Avenue, because people would come and they would spend the afternoon and they would sit and talk to their neighbors and talk to their friends. Obviously, the environment has changed down there a lot, but as far as, it quickly went into a conversation about loitering and how certain individuals might use city property, which is obviously something that we deal with on Main Street all the time. So,
One thing I'd like to add to that is one of the business owners that said, I just walk out and say it's time to move on, and they get up and move on. So that eliminated that concern for me.
yeah.
We haven't had a problem in the almost 4 years that we've been there. I've called the police twice. And that's only because they were camping out under the alcove across the street in the building owned by Sharif. So, they were moved on by the police, and, that's the way it should be done and handled.
So just so you all know, part of the conversation, the issue here is that if it's city property, our police department cannot come up to an individual on city property and ask them to move. Okay, there's no such thing as a loitering ordinance. There's a trespassing ordinance. If an individual is on private property, there's signs posted, our city department can come out and ask them to move along. I've been on Seventh Avenue for 15 years. I've been on that street in that building all days of night and morning. If there's an element of an individual sleeping or passed out, that usually is kind of back further away from areas of activity, whether it's vacant businesses or vacant buildings, which we have we really don't have any vacant buildings anymore. Like the plaza used to be kind of a hub for that because there wasn't really any activity down there. So the element has changed to where, especially what I'm getting at is that with the position of, let's just say these public benches that we're talking about, they're right there. They're very much very visible part of the streetscape. They're very close to the street. It's not a place where I would imagine anybody wanting to sleep for a couple hours in the afternoon without getting bothered by somebody.
Well, I get up in front of my building at the bandstand all the time.
Yeah.
And they lay there and sleep, and I mean, they're right at the road.
Right.
But if you do, I go out and tell them to move on, and they do.
Right.
It's a real problem. They get out there and squeal and play drums and do all kinds of weird, playing music is one thing, but this is not.
Right.
They're like tweaking or something.
Yeah, we called the police 3 times in the last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy smoking something out of a glass pipe in front of the hair salon on last Thursday.
Some weird stuff.
And then we had another guy arrested for, it's been crazy the last 2 weeks.
Well, I did have one starting to take his clothes off on that bandstand.
Well, we're going to make a decision next month.
Yeah, we're gonna make a decision next month, but I wanted you all to see like the bigger picture on that, and that is whatever decisions that we're making are very are well considered and talked about. And so we're not rushing into anything necessarily, but I think the consensus of our team was that that's not a reason to not have any public furniture. Okay, every town and anywhere I've ever been to deals with the same issue.
We're also looking at adding an ordinance to Seventh Avenue like they have on Main Street as far as public dining and.
So currently, we're just kind of, we've allowed businesses to have the furniture so that way we could figure out the layout for it. Because I had said we're gonna need to update the ordinance for 7th, but when I went back and looked at the ordinance, I'm not sure necessarily it's gonna be updates to the ordinances, but mapping out where sidewalk dining can work because of how the parallel parking is and how the street's laid out. It's just a matter of where the businesses can have the seating to where it's not a trip hazard, gets in the like car doors and things like that. So now that after I looked at it, I don't know if we'll have to necessarily do the ordinance as much as just, there is something with the ordinance, but not.
I think we were talking about it because we were looking at maybe just quick, the city buying furniture. And then we heard from some business owners that they would rather not have the city buy furniture, that they'd like to have the option. But I guess I'm wondering, like downtown, we tried to get people not to have umbrellas with advertising. Is that part of an ordinance or?
Yeah, that's all in the ordinance, yeah.
But that would work on Seventh Avenue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more figuring out where and just kind of
Where they are.
figuring on where the tables and chairs can go, because there's just not a lot of room
Yeah.
there, and so we want to have, even if it's just a tiny mark of where those boundaries are, so that way it's not like when you pile too many tables and chairs into one place, it's not safe and it doesn't look good. So that's the other thing that we gotta be looking at.
So we've got the Main Street ordinance to work off of, but basically, outdoor dining would be on a case by case basis, sort of mapping out what an operator's outdoor dining space is gonna look like. Or from a just a logistical standpoint. So those things are both very much on community characters agenda for going forward. So nothing we're gonna rush into, but we are very much top of the list.
And then we had public art, but we didn't have time to go further into that. Economic vitality, Aaron isn't here today, he's the chair. We did not meet last month.
Community characters not meeting next month, not at all.
Yeah, the community care won't August, but economic vitality would not meet this past month.
At your next meeting, you're coming up with a final recommendation for outdoor furniture. for
That's
Seventh- for
perfect.
Seventh Avenue.
We hope.
It would be,
We have to.
we need to come up with at least, I think the consensus was to settle on a design of a bench. The look and the manufacturer and the materials, and then start putting a few in something that could be expandable and kind of see, Seventh Avenue, it is kind of like a new, it's a new environment to a degree. So we can see how it evolves, but the idea would be to come up with a bench design that we all like, that's unique, that's different, that's sustainable, that's gonna last a long, long time, and put a couple in and start seeing how the public uses them.
So that's only, that's.
They're short enough, they can be-
Yes,
Yeah, we'll bring that. to
yeah, right, sorry, no, yeah, next meeting.
The economic vitality, we did not meet this past month, but I will say that the board awarded the 344 North Main facade grant, and then we've awarded and they completed the terms for Hardman Heron 337 7th Avenue East. And it's looking really good over there. That popped your head in, it's really nice.
Yes.
I'm expecting a few more facade grants coming up, 314 North Main, which is where Scotty's Jewelry was. Emma's Baby Boutique had requested some information, for their building. And Lux Salon has also requested information, so just trying to keep y'all apprised of what might be coming down the line later. And then, next month, Stephanie and Lou, while we're out of town, we'll talk to Economic Vitality about the vacant building. Whatever we're gonna be doing with vacant buildings. So they'll be presenting with that, and then that will come to the board in August, as well. And then also they had, reviewed last month, a farmer's market proposal, Stephanie had worked on, and so they're actually gonna have Meet the Chef with Hardman Heron.
August 23rd.
August 23rd at the farmer's market, so, because they're working on some special, things in that August, September period for the farmer's market, because that's when it kind of slows down some. So that's what Economic Vitality is doing, and then events, I just have a couple of our event, we just had our first Rhythm and Brews, and then we'll have our next one, July 15th. Who's the band?
Opener is Lilithal and the headliner is Florencia and the Feeling.
That will be July 15th. Yeah. And then Tomato Day, the farmer's market, July 26th. And then also to save the date for July 18th, that's the Acoustic Trail grand opening. They're not necessarily,
I thought I'd read everywhere it was the 17th. I guess I had that
just 18th.
wrong. Okay.
Yeah, Rhythm and Brews is 17th, and then the Acoustic Trail is the 18th. That's gonna be at the State Visitor Center, starting at 2. And then they've got stuff going on, up and down the trail. We're not necessarily involved with it, but it'd be a very good one to go and check that out. And then I just have a list of, just some changes in buildings and properties. Stephanie and I have been working on getting that in a better format to more easily show, but it's just a show of what we currently have with our vacant building inventory. And we're still working on, getting that complete.
Do you know what time the grand opening is? Is there, I assume there's a ceremony?
Yeah, so they're gonna have speakers starting at 2.
Yeah.
And I think they're planning to, it'll probably be about an hour worth of speakers. And then with a ribbon cutting right around 3.
Great.
And then there also will be music on May and art show later that week. Okay.
All right, so that rounds out June staff reports. Unless there's any more conversation about that, we can move into if there's any unfinished business in the room. Anybody? Unfinished business? Informal discussion always scares me. I'm like, it's already 5:30, you know? I mean, I don't have anything on that one. Unless there's anything else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make the motion.
Thank you, Nancy.
Second.
Thank you, Joe. All in favor of adjourning the meeting? Any opposed? All right, everybody, thank you for your time.